Good afternoon, students. Today is the second day of online classes, and we are here in continuation of chapter 1 series. So, starting up with the chapter, yesterday we learned about what is matter. It is chapter first, and yesterday we learned about the definition of matter and what are the properties of matter. Today we are going to talk about that matter is made up of a number of particles and what are the properties of particles of matter. So, starting up, properties of particles of matter. Now, when we are talking about the properties of the particles of matter, the very first property is that particles of matter have spaces between them. Matter have spaces between them. This can be very well understood by an activity that take a beaker, fill it some amount of water in it. This is a beaker, add small amount of water in it. Now in this water, either you add a pinch of salt or a pinch of sugar or some drops of lemon and stir it continuously. After stirring for a certain time, you will observe that the solution of either the salt with water or sugar with water or lemon with water becomes homogeneous and it is transparent. That is, you cannot discriminate between the particles of water as well as the particle of the substance, either the salt or the sugar that you have taken up. This indicates that the particles of water was having certain space between them, and when you added a certain amount of salt or sugar, then the particles of sugar and salt were dissolved in it by occupying the spaces between the particles of water. So this activity very well indicates that the particles of matter have spaces between them. Second property of matter is particles of the matter is that particles of matter are continuously moving. That is, they are always in the state of motion. This can be very well understood by an activity that you should take an incense stick, light up the incense stick in a corner and place it in a corner of your room. After a certain time, you are going to smell the odor of that incense stick, and even you can see the fumes traveling from that corner of the room to other parts of the room. Another activity also explains that particles of matter are continuously moving by, take two beakers. In one beaker, in both the beakers you add certain amount of water, equal amount of water, say 50 ml in beaker A and 50 ml in beaker B. Water, water. In beaker A, put some drop of ink, and in beaker B, you just put some drop of honey from the sides. Leave it undisturbed for certain time. You will notice that the beaker in which ink was, some certain drops of the ink was put, the solution became colorful soon after a certain period of time. And in beaker B, where few drops of honey were put, this honey got settled down at the bottom of the beaker. We can easily see it by the naked eyes, that the particles of the honey could be easily seen by the naked eyes. When we stir both the solutions continuously, then this solutions solution in the beaker A becomes homogeneous, and B beaker, where honey previously settled down at the bottom of the beaker, but later on it very well dissolved in the water. This indicates that the particles of matter are continuously moving. Then the third activity which can be very well demonstrated is, again, take two beakers. Now that is beaker A and beaker B. Now in beaker A, put 50 ml of hot water. And in beaker B, put 50 ml of cold water. Now put some crystals of potassium permanganate in both beaker A and beaker B. After a certain time, we are going to observe that the crystals of potassium permanganate very well dissolved in beaker A, which was containing hot water. But in cold water, it took a pretty little time. This indicates that the particles of matter, that is the particles of the water, hot water, were continuously moving. That is, they were having certain spaces, random spaces among them, due to which the crystals of the potassium permanganate were very easy to dissolve or occupy the space between them. But in beaker B, since it was containing cold water, the space was limited among them, and that is the very basic reason that it took a certain period of time for the crystals of potassium permanganate to dissolve. So all the three activities very clearly indicates that the particles of the matter are continuously moving. Then the third property of matter is that particles of matter attract each other. This property of the particles of matter can be very well understood by various activities around you. You just open a tap, and after opening the tap, you can see that the stream of water starts flowing from the tap. You just put your hand under the stream of the water, running water. You will observe that there is no breakage or no column created when you put your hand in the running water. Besides that, the water starts flowing from the side of your hand. That means the particles of the matter are putting certain force of attraction between them, due to which there is a continuity or there is a flow of particles of water, due to which the stream of the water is in continuation. Then other activity by which we can very easily understand this is, we can take a nail, an iron nail you can say, then we can take chalk powder, and we can take a rubber band, chalk, and this is a rubber band. Now we start hammering up all these three articles. After a certain time, we will see that when we were hammering the iron nail did not distort, neither it broke down. But the chalk, it very easily broke down, and it was soon turned into powder. And the rubber band, it was not broken up, but when we were exerting certain amount of force by hammering it, it stretched up. This indicates that the particles of matter are having certain forces of attraction between them. So these are the properties of the particles of matter that we have studied today, and from tomorrow onwards we are going to study the various states of matter in detail. Thank you.